What is going on, guys? Drew YGO back with another deck profile, and today we're doing Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears are an iconic GX archetype used by Crowler in the anime, and I just love this card so much. Look at how cool it is, right? So let's go ahead and get started. We got the one copy of Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. It's got the same lockdown effect as the other Ancient Gear monsters, where in the battle phase or while it's attacking, your opponent cannot respond with spells, traps, or monster effects. We got two copies of Ancient Gear Golem. The classic cannot be special summoned unless you use something else like Gear Town. Next we got the two copies of Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. It's pretty much the same as Ancient Gear Golem, but with some piercing battle damage. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can add a polymerization from your deck to your hand. And if you do, add one other Ancient Gear monster from your graveyard to your hand. We're not running Polymerization. We do have Overload Fusion and Necrofusion, though. But when this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, you can discard a machine monster, and then it can attack again in a row, which is really, really nice for that OTK power. Next, we got two copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. If this card is normal or special, you can add an Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand. Not just a monster, but even a spell card as well, except for Ancient Gear Wyvern. Also, you cannot set cards for the rest of this turn. You can only use as effective Ancient Gear Wyvern once per turn. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate monster effects until the end of the damage step. So you can use this card to get your Ancient Gear Catapult. You can get it for your Ancient Gear Castle or any of your other continuous spell cards. First up for the Gadget engine, where you got 2 gold Gadget. It just allows you to special summon a level 4 machine monster from your hand when it's normal or special summon, which is really, really nice in combo with other gadgets. Next, we got 2 copies of Ancient Gear Frame. Now, this one has a wall of text, so bear with me. You can discard a card, add an Ancient Gear Golem, or a spell or trap that specifically lists the card Ancient Gear Golem in its text from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. If this card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon up to 3 Ancient Gear Golem and or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound from your hand, ignoring their summoning conditions. This is what I was talking about earlier. It says it can't be special summoned, but this does ignore summoning conditions, so very, very nice. And if you have a bricky hand of all of them, and this just gets destroyed on the field, you could just go ahead and summon out all of them on the field. Next, we got the 2 copies of Silver Gadget. When this card is normal or special, you can special summon a level 4 machine monster from your hand, pretty much the same as Gold Gadget. So what I like to do is to special summon Silver Gadget, then use its effect to special summon Gold Gadget, use Gold Gadget's effect to special summon another machine monster. Next, we got 2 copies of Geargi Accelerator. Because we are running the 2 copies of Geargi Augur. Geargi Augur adds Geargi Accelerator, which can special summon itself while you control a Geargia monster. You can use these 2 monsters to either go into your Geargigan X, which is my favorite card in this whole game, no question, I love this card, or you can use it to go into your Platinum Gadget, or you can use it to go into your Ancient Gear Ballista, which is what you're going to be doing the most, because they are Earth Machine monsters, and one can special summon itself quite easy. So your combo starter, I guess, this deck doesn't have many explosive combos, but your combo starter, I guess, is Ancient Gear Ballista. Next, we got the 2 copies of Ancient Gear Gadget. If this card is normal or special summon, you can declare 1 card type, monster, spell, or trap. This turn, if your monster attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell, trap cards, or monster effects, whichever was declared, until the end of the damage step. So this allows you to just kind of lock something down. Let's say you're going against Eldritch. You can go ahead and declare trap, and while you attack, they can't respond with any of their back row. They can pop it outside of the damage step, but just to kind of protect your monsters a little bit, you know? Next, we got 2 copies of Ancient Gear Box. If this card is added from the deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, you can add an Earth Machine type monster with 500 attack or defense to your hand. This card is kind of a mainstay in a lot of Earth Machine decks, because if you add it using Geargigan X, it's not actually added by drawing, it's added by an effect. So you can go ahead and add another Earth Machine type monster, and it doesn't have to be a specific level either. You can add your Reactor Dragon, you can add your Ancient Gear Golem, Let's say you have a couple pieces of a fusion monster and you need to add another one. Go into Gear Gigant X and add your gearbox. Add another Ancient Gear Golem. Next, we got the 2 copies of Gear Gyalgar, like I mentioned earlier. When it's normal summoned, specifically normal summoned, this has tripped me up a bunch where I tried to special summon it, but it didn't work. It has to be normal summoned. You can add a level 4 Earth Machine type monster from your deck to your hand, except for Gear Gyalgar. Gear Gyalgar can add Ancient Gearbox, but most of the time, off of Gear Gyalgar, you're going to want to add Gear Gi Accelerator, special summon Gear Gi Accelerator, like I was mentioning earlier. Next, we got the 2 copies of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. If this card is normal summoned, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spells or traps, yada yada yada, but here's the big one, right? Once per turn, you can fusion summon 1 Ancient Gear fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. So a lot of the Ancient Gears don't really call for specific materials, except for Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, which specifically calls for Ancient Gear Golem. But this does count as an Ancient Gear monster, so let's say you need 4 Ancient Gears for your Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, or just the 2 Ancient Gear monsters for your Howitzer. This can use itself as material, which is really, really awesome. Alright, that rounds out the monsters. Let's start on the spells. We got 2 Overload Fusion. Fusion summon 1 Dark Machine Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials from your field or graveyard. This is really great because you can dump a lot of your Ancient Gear Golems or Ancient Gear monsters into the graveyard, and then you can go ahead and banish them for the Overload Fusion play. Next, we got 1 copy of Iron Draw. I don't know if I want to keep this in here. I might add like the actual polymerization in place of this, but it says that if you control exactly 2 machine effect monsters and no other monsters, you can draw 2 cards, and after it resolves, you can only special summon once. I don't really know if I like this. I think I might drop it and put polymerization in, and I'll kind of get back to you guys on how that worked. But for right now, we've got the 1 copy of Iron Draw. We got 3 copies of Ancient Gear Catapult. This card is while you control no monsters, you can target a face-up card you control and destroy it. And if you do, special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can banish this card from the graveyard, then target a face-up card you control and destroy it. Special summon an Ancient Gear token. It is Machine Earth level 1, attack 0, defense 0. You can only use 1 Ancient Gear Catapult effect per turn, and only once that turn. So that token can be used for a fusion summon. So you can use it for any of your Ancient Gear monsters that require just any Ancient Gear monster. So that's because it is called Ancient Gear token, which I think is really, really awesome. Next, we got the 1 copy of Ancient Gear Workshop. You can target an Ancient Gear in your graveyard and add it to your hand. I mean, it's a really good card, what can I say? Next, we got the 1 copy of Terraforming, because we do have Gear Town in here, and it is a field spell. Next, we got Ancient Gear Fortress. These have pretty long walls of text, and this is already getting pretty long. We got Ancient Gear Fortress 1 of, and then 2 Ancient Gear Castle. Next, we got the Gear Town, is when its effect is both players can normal summon Ancient Gear monster for 1 less tribute. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon an Ancient Gear from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So the kind of play here is to activate it and then use Ancient Gear Catapult on your own Gear Town to destroy it and send it to the graveyard to be able to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is really cool. Really, really awesome. For the traps, we have Cross-Dimensional Duel. You can target an Ancient Gear and banish it during the next standby phase. Return that banished monster to the field, and if you do, its attack becomes double until the end of that turn. If 1 or more Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. It offers your cards a little bit of protection, and you can banish your Ancient Gear Golem for a turn, and it'll come back as a 6,000 attack beat stick, which is always incredibly funny in my book. Next, we got the 1 copy of Necro Fusion. Like I said earlier, you can dump your Ancient Gears into the graveyard pretty easily, so being able to fusion summon from the graveyard is really, really good. Finally, for the main deck, we have 1 copy of Ancient Gear Reborn. Once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can target an Ancient Gear in your graveyard and special summon it, and if you do, it gains 200 attack, even if this card leaves the field. So it's a continuous Monster Reborn, which I think is really, really awesome for this deck. It's like you can't really kill them, they just keep coming back to life, and that's really funny. Alright, for the extra deck, we got 3 copies of Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, 1 copy of Ancient Gear Megaton Golem, 2 copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer, 2 copies of Gear Gigant X, 2 copies of Platinum Gadget, and 2 copies of Ancient Gear Ballista. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Like I said, it's a very iconic archetype. GX is probably the funniest Yu-Gi-Oh show. If you watch it in the English dub, it is so funny. It's got so many quotable lines that I say every day. And we're gonna get into some replays. Let me know in the comments what you guys liked about it, what you guys didn't like about it, what you would take out, what you would leave in. And this has been Drew YGO. Until next time.